Hey folks, in this video I'm bringing you along on the biggest lens shootout I've ever done, comparing 8 different standard prime lenses ranging from like $100 to several $1,000s. I've got yoga teacher Joe in to model for us and loads of cool different outfits and accessories. Let's get into it. Greetings folks, time to throw back and do a good old-fashioned 50mm Showdown. Now the Nikon Z line is growing beautifully in terms of its lens selection. They already have a bunch of different options there, and the beauty, as we all know, of mirrorless cameras is the ability to adapt lenses to use on them, whether you're adapting DSLR lenses that may retain autofocus or older lenses that you then manually focus. So today I'm going to be looking at 8 different 50 to 58mm standard prime lenses and comparing them. They range in year probably by 3 or 4 decades and in price by thousands of dollars, but it should be a really fun video. This one all came together because after I shot yoga with Joe and Luke previously, Joe and I were looking to shoot something else together. My buddy Stan has a business selling houseplants, and we thought let's work out some kind of a lifestyle type shoot that we can make it work. That's the kind of shoot that a 50mm lens is going to work nicely for. So my intent today is to create some images for Joe and for Stan and his plant business, and to shoot the different setups on all 8 of the different lenses and show you the sample file. So make sure you check the link below, you can download those. And if you're looking for any old used lenses, pretty much any of the lenses here, probably other than the knocked, you can check out KEH Camera, use the code MGSHOP and you can get 5% off. Now, Joe's about to arrive, let's get set up. So in terms of places to shoot, you can see this is the space we have. It's basically a nice large corner bedroom suite, kind of a suite. It's got a little office area there, but it's got 2 nice big windows, and depending on where the light is, you get really interesting pattern of lights. Now it was great over here, but that light has almost gone. The sun is almost out here now. So we have a little pool here. So as I work out the different shots, I may actually bring some of the chairs from over that side of the room into that side, just if they're going to help as props for her posing. Being a yoga teacher, she can get into pretty much any pose, and there's some interesting bars on the window that could create some cool graphic shots. Not sure that we'll incorporate the plant in all of them. I don't want to just like jam it into every shot, but we'll see what we can come up with. Now, in terms of lenses, I've gotten the oldest one that I have is this old 50mm f1.4 Nippon Kogaku Nikkor S Auto. This I picked up for like $100 used. Then we have the 50 f1.2. Now this is still for sale in some places. Couldn't find it available in Hong Kong to buy, but I have seen it available still new, and up until 2020 at least it was still in production. Not sure about right now, but this tiny little guy is a true f1.2. We'll see how the technology has changed as we go through to the modern ones. Then I have the current DSLR 50s, the 51.8G. Now that's the special edition they released with the DF, but optically it's exactly the same, and the 1.4G, which is still selling for like $400 or $500. And not to be left out, I also have the 58mm f1.4G DSLR f-mount lens. This is a really primo lens. It still sells for $1,500 new, but you can pick them up for a bargain used. Check out KEH Camera. They're sponsoring this video and they have the world's biggest range of used equipment, and they offer 6 months warranty on everything that they sell. Then getting up to the S lenses in the Z range, we have their nifty 50, the 51.8, still more expensive than the 1.4 from the F-mount range, but a beautiful performer. That's my own lens. And then the big boys, the 51.2, this thing is a beast. Just look at the size comparison to the old 51.2. You can barely even think that they could be the same specification, just that this is autofocus. And if that wasn't enough proof that mirrorless lenses can be so small and petite, we also have the 58mm f0.95 Noct lens. Manual focus only, a couple of the lenses here are, so once I get the scene working well, I'll manual focus all of the lenses on a tripod to make sure I get the best results possible. You know, doing these kind of a shoot, it's always a catch-22, especially if you're including manual focus. It means that I may not get the exact same shots that I would if I were just shooting for myself or for the client, because having to have her choose poses that are going to be holdable for long enough to do all of the manual focusing becomes a little bit tricky. So I've got to find that balance point between shots that will demonstrate the different aspects of the lens to be useful for you guys, but also to create meaningful shots for Joe and Stan. So we're almost ready. Joe has her makeup all done. Stan is just getting the plants in place. I think how we're going to work this through, we'll get a shot working first, then go through and run through each of the 8 different lenses, then move on to the next spot. So the first one's going to be a nice softly backlit. It's a window that's in indirect sunlight coming through a sheer curtain. Joe's brought along a blue bodysuit for that one, so hopefully the green in the foreground and then the blue will work. And I'm going to shoot each of the lenses at their respective wide open aperture and then at f2.8, and we'll see how they perform. So I went through and shot each of the different lenses, trying to replicate the shot as close as possible. And yes, segueing in an excuse to have the plant in the foreground. Joe was great. It took a fair while to change all of the lenses and to do all of the manual focusing. But to keep things interesting, I'm not going to tell you which lens is which, but I'll keep them in the same order. Let's check them out. This is option 1, lens 2, lens 3, lens 4, lens 5, lens 6, 7, and 8. And note, all of them were shot wide open. Okay, so those first shots came up really nicely. Something I noticed that quite shocked me actually was how much the metering varied between the different lenses. And it wasn't as simple as if they were f-mount or if they were native mount. Just some of them were metering really differently. Yes, all of the settings were the same, but some it was choosing a shutter speed like twice as bright as the others. I think it could be that the manual focus lenses aren't as accurately metering right on the face. When you have auto eye detect on with autofocus lenses, it identifies this is the face and I'll meter preference on this, whereas when you're manually focusing, maybe it's taking more of a matrix despite the settings you have chosen. So anyway, next we're going to set up in front of a harder light window. The light obviously keeps changing and we're on a corner, so the sun rises here and sets over there. It's kind of great, but it means we have to keep chasing the light to make sure we're making use of the interesting light patterns on the ground. Here we go again. They're still in the same order and they're still shot at wide open at their relative maximum apertures. This is just like the Oscars. Between every shoot, Joe changed her outfit. I wanted to put her right in the window so that we were dealing with extreme backlight to see how each of the different lenses would handle the flare. Now this was really intense sunlight flooding straight into the lenses, so you couldn't expect any of them to really be free from flare, but the results are still quite interesting. So far, all of them are performing well. I have to say the 51-2, I tested this before actually with Joe and Luke doing yoga at TST. I was impressed with it, but here, seeing how it's handling it in backlit situations like this, I'm really impressed. I still don't know if I'm $2,000 impressed, but it's performing really well. Now, having said the lens is performing great, let's just mess it up. I brought along some refraction glasses and I wanted to get some cool effects. It meant that we totally lost the plant in the shot, but some cool final images for Joe nonetheless. Okay, so next shot worked out really nicely. Getting down much lower to the ground, there was a great shot with the warm light coming through, really drawing out the point that the manual focus is such a... It's not like a bad thing. If you really want to slow down, then great, but it does mean some shots are impractical. Going down low to the ground, having to zoom in 100%, that kind of thing, it would take far too long, especially if someone's in a difficult pose. Now, I've got an idea to use this area as a spot to shoot. We have this beautiful beam of light coming through here now. I want to set up the shot with Joe, so we use that beam of light probably on like a 3/4 kind of pose so the light streams across her torso. Basically, you can see the triangle of light here. That's the area I'll have for you to pose, and you can get up to about this height, so it would need to be fairly low down. I was thinking having you all on there, so more of like a, yeah, like, I don't know, cross-legged or kneeling or... So what about that if you turn your body to face this window? Just because the light is so goddamn pretty. Now, if you want to learn more about how to find cool locations, work with the model, and specifically shoot in a hotel room, check out my brand new course over at Art Nude Portraiture. It's actually recreating a challenge that Digital Rev gave to me way back in the day. Please note that this is a fully nude course and it's intended for a mature audience, so viewer discretion is advised. Links in the description below. Now for this final series, I'm showing each of them at their wide open aperture and then at f2.8, so you can really see the difference in the results we're getting there. I might as well tell you now which each lens is. The first was the old Kogaku lens, the second was the 51-2, the old one. Number 3 was the 51.8G, number 4 the 1.4G, number 5 the 58mm 1.4G, number 6 was the 1.8Z lens, number 7 was the 1.2Z lens, and number 8 is the Nox, so that's 095 and f2.8. Wasn't meaning to scare you, that was to sync the cameras. But that's a great point to jump in on this.
Yes, because you get me attention.
Hey! We're filming the conclusion. That's so pretty.
Yeah, so pretty.
Thank you so much for today. It was kind of nice, peaceful massage and makeup and then rush, and now it's sunset. So thank you. How is it, actually it's good to have your perspective on this. How is it posing for someone shooting manual focus where I'm asking you to stay still for like 30 seconds?
In the past, I think it's so hard to hold in a pose, but now I figure out the best you can do is actually hold longer. So it gives me time to figure out my pose and like my sensation to the camera. So I think it's okay for me.
Okay.
So far, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I don't feel like a monster for making you sit so still for so long. Yeah. Make sure you check out Joe's Instagram. She is a yoga teacher. You do like online teaching as well, right?
Yes, I do.
So if you do yoga and you're looking for a teacher, I shouldn't be speaking for her, but maybe you can contact her and see about getting lessons. Yeah. And do click through on the links in the description. I will have sample files that you can download and check out. Thanks to Stan, thanks to Pikachu, thanks to the whole crew for making today happen, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.